Die Hard duty, man. I can't be stopped. I'm gonna run away with this. Okay, so my normal pause time has been shrunk. Well, normally I like to take a break, go eat some dinner, and thing is I'm not really hungry, so it wasn't really, the dinner thing wasn't a big deal. So I had a piece of cake. And then my wife went to bed early because she had kind of a stressful day at work. I'm like, well, I usually sit down and watch TV with her, but I guess I'm gonna go work some more. So I've been down here cranking away, trying to work out my my Google button, trying to get it to do what it needs to do to work. Yeah, kind of bouncing off a couple of things here. It's kind of throwing me off a little bit here. So I'm trying to use my Go microservice here, and I'm not sure. I guess I'm a little confused at why I need this gRPC thing here. Also missing the at grpc.js. What does that do? How do I install it? I did not need this to call other services. So how is it used here? Used in this case. So do I have that? Is my data using that? I didn't even notice that. All right, so I have game plan data being called here. Huh. Client-side gateway translation. Okay, so here I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Okay. So it's explaining to me what the heck. So if your app is interacting directly with gRPC service, not just through a gateway, I'm just going through a gateway. I don't know what the difference is. If you're working with gRPC gateway, which translation is gRPC? Examples of using gRPC. Here's how you might use it to call a Go-based gRPC service. For instance, your authentication service. Okay, I guess I am not sure how this correlates to my service. So the question I'm curious of, all right, so this is an example of one of my calls to a microservice that did not require at grpc-js. My microservice services, including the mgauth, are all set up to be called via another gRPC gateway microservice service, all of which are written in Go. What is the difference in the two? What is the difference in the two items, the two options you are suggesting? And how do they differ from my current implementation? Alright, let's see what ChatGPT wants to tell me about this, because I really don't know. Because again, I'm still learning, man. I've only been doing Go now for about 3 weeks. So this is all new stuff to me. I gotta do some reading. I gotta do some learnings. Alright. Let's see. Now let's go to the beginning here. Alright. Current setup with gRPC Gateway. gRPC Gateway, you're using gRPC Gateway as an intermediary between your front-end Next.js and your Go-based gRPC services. The gateway translates REST, like the one with Axios, into gRPC calls, so you don't need to worry about the complexities of gRPC itself in the front end. When you make a call, like the one in your code, you're making a regular HTTP GET request, not gRPC, which is routed through your gRPC gateway. The gateway then forwards the request to the appropriate gRPC service, which handles the actual logic and returns a response. REST calls. When you make a call like the one in your code, you're making a regular HTTP GET request, not gRPC, which is routed through the gRPC gateway. The gateway then forwards the request to the appropriate gRPC service, which handles the actual logic and returns a response. You make HTTP GET requests to blah 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 game plan. The gRPC gateway receives the HTTP request and forwards it to your Go-based gRPC service. The Go service processes the request, executes the logic, e.g. querying the database, and sends back a response. The gateway converts that response into an HTTP response, and it's sent back to your front end. Setup is more user-friendly because it uses standard REST calls and hides the complexities of gRPC. You don't need to directly interact with gRPC in the front end. The gateway takes care of it for you. When you use blah blah blah, you're bypassing the REST layer and making your direct gRPC calls from your client-side application. The approach is typically used when you're working with pure gRPC communication and don't want to rely on REST as an intermediary. The client directly communicates with Go-based gRPC services via gRPC or other gRPC. You would need to define the service methods, and then you create a client to make requests. You would not use HTTP or REST for communication. The calls are handled by the gRPC client directly. Your current setup, you're using HTTP with REST, so the communication is based on traditional. You're using gRPC protocol directly, which relies on binary encoding, e.g. protobuf, to serialize and transmit data efficiently. It typically uses HTTP2 for transport, which can offer better performance in certain situations. Oh, great. Your current setup. It's easy to integrate because you're using well-known HTTP-based API that doesn't require knowledge of gRPC. The gRPC gateway extracts all the gRPC complexity. Direct gRPC requires more configuration and understanding of gRPC-specific concepts, e.g. protobuf files, service definitions, and yeah, well, I've already gone there. It also has some limitations in browsers, as gRPC traditionally doesn't work well in browsers without special configurations like gRPC-web. Really? Oh, that's direct gRPC. Your current implementation in direct gRPC. I don't know. I'm leaning away from direct gRPC because I already have it all set up. You're using standard HTTP REST API calls via Axios. It's straightforward and works out of the box. Your current setup. The gRPC translates into which adds a small amount of overhead due to the translation layer. However, for many use cases, the overhead is minimal and it allows you to use a standard HTTP interface. Continue with current implementation. All right, so I just got to tell them I'm using a gRP gateway with REST. So when I'm asking, okay, since you're already using gRPC gateway to translate between REST and gRPC, you should continue using your current setup with Axios for making HTTP requests for gateway. The gateway will forward the request to your Go-based gRPC. There's no immediate need to use unless you have specific requirements. No, I don't. If you have already, okay, so. That said, let's stick with my implementation. How does that change the provided solution? Alrighty. Alrighty then, let's go back to this. Sounds like it's going to be a lot simpler than it was given me before. Because it was giving me a lot of long-winded stuff, and I'm like, I feel like a lot of this is happening on the front end, and I have a gateway that's handling it all on the back end. All right, so now I am working with ChatGPT 3.5, so for anybody's curious, because I'm all out of my ChatGPT 4 uses for today. Really would like to do the $20 option. Pay $20 and get unlimited messages. Actually, I don't even think it's unlimited. I think what it is it's just more. Like if I go to upgrade, I don't think it's actually unlimited. Extend limits on messaging, file uploads, advanced data analysis, and image generation. I don't know what the limits are because it just says extend them. What is what was I going to ask it? Extend. What was I going to do? Oh, what is the Chat GPT $20 plan limits? With ChatGPT Plus or Team account, you have access to 50 messages a week with OpenAI and 50 messages a day with OpenAI O1 Mini. The new ChatGPT Pro plan offers near unlimited access to our, I don't even know what 01 mini and ChatGPT. I don't know. Let's see. I don't quite get it. It's weird. The ChatGPT Pro plan offers near unlimited access to our 01 mini and ChatGPT 40 models. However, usage must adhere to our terms of use. So, oh, it's plus. Plus is 50? That even, I mean, how much do I do now? Gosh, Pro is near unlimited. But what is 50 a week? Well, what is it now? What are the free limits on Chat GPT? Free tier users can use ChatGPT only a limited number of times within a 3-hour window, which is what? What does that mean, a limited number of times? What is a limited number of times? Currently, only Plus, Team, and Enterprise plans have access to Build GPTs. What the heck is a Build GPT? Can I create images of Dolly as a free tier user? Three? Holy moly. Free tier users can use 40 GTO4 only a limited number of times with a 5-hour window. When you use ChatGPT, as long as you can use you can use GPTs as long as you can use GPT-4. When you hit your limit for GPT-4, you won't be able to use GPTs. What the heck are GPTs? Until your rate limit resets. Once you reach GPT limit, we will output a message that states the time tomorrow that you can continue using GPTs. The following tools have shared usage limits that are separate from GPT-4o text rate limit. Reset when I upgrade my account to ChatGPT Plus. Yes, if you reach a rate limit on your free tier account, your usage rates will reset when you update your account to a Plus. As far as GPTs different from users on the free tier. GPT usage on the free tier is subject to same limitations as ChatGPT. GPT advanced functionality, which includes data analysis, file uploads, and web browsing, is subject to stricter rate limits on the free tier than on paid tiers. Additionally, Dolly is not available at this time to free users. As a free user, your GPT text rate limit will apply to GPTs. Okay, I don't even know what GPTs are. I like that they just say it will be limited for a time. Doesn't tell you what the limit is. I mean, you get like, do you get 10? What is the limit? What is the limit? You get 30 in an hour? 30 in a 3-hour window? What the heck is the limit? I would like to know. We'll tell you. We'll just say, yeah, now's good. You're done. All right. What are GPTs? Generative pre-trained transformers are a family of deep learning models that can generate natural language text from various inputs, such as words, sentences, images, or sounds. Transform natural language processing, allowing machines to generate. Ow, my shoulders are really beat up. Ow. Yeah. I have transformed natural language. Oh, whoa. Why is it so sore? I haven't done any. I don't think I've done any shoulder presses or anything. Ow. Oh. I've done some pull-ups. Ow, but that shouldn't be affecting that muscle. Oh, golly molly. Ugh. Okay. For example, if you're looking for GPT to help with homework, create your own GPT and train it on your study materials. Learn more. A GPT is a type of AI programmer that recently gained popularity for its ability to generate and respond to text that mimics human conversation. GPTs are trained on enormous quantities of information, including online content, detailed structure of human speech. GPTs understand and generate natural language. GPTs are trained to predict the next word in a sentence using the context of previous words. The predictive capability helps them to generate text that sounds like human language. GPTs use AI to perform various language-related tasks, including writing articles. Relevant data, choosing. Choose a GPT creation tool that supports fine-tuning existing models and allows you to upload datasets directly. Train your GPT model on your specific dataset. If new data is discovered, you may need to adjust your GPT's parameters. However, your GPT might be able to automatically once the data is uploaded and the fine-tuning process is initiated. Monitor and adjust. Continue to monitor the model's performance and make changes. If needed, adjust the data set or parameters to achieve better results. So, here's the thing. Here's what I would like to do. Here's what I want to call the ultimate dream. What do they call it? It's not the ultimate dream. It's there's a term for coup de grace, which is really what, just the ultimate ending? I don't know. But the ultimate goal. I don't know if it's even possible because GPTs or even AI requires boat tons of processing power, right? I would love to train it to be smarter in like football. Okay, so I would like to have, even just if it's just one AI attached to the quarterback. Because you really think about it, the quarterback has a lot of logic he's got to consider, right? I mean, really, I don't even know that a lot of the current games are smart enough to know if they should scramble. Okay, so quarterbacks will typically, unless they've been given a job, a path that says run to the right or run to the left and then look for a pass. I mean, those are pre-programmed rollouts, right? So you would tell it, roll out, do this. But most games are not smart enough. I don't believe I've ever seen a game, I could be wrong because I don't play enough of them, that a quarterback is smart enough to try to get away from the rush and then pass. You know, it's a pocket pass. They go back. They look for someone to throw to. Somebody breaks in. They run away. They continue to look for someone to throw to and then try to throw. That is complex AI, because there has to be some logic that has to be calculated or thought of in that AI that says, okay, I'm being rushed. I'm going to try to get away, and then I'm going to try to throw the ball. Now you're going to try to break the tackle. He's going to try to do something and run away. Usually, if you're controlling it, like on some AI, you can control it and you might be able to run away and still throw the ball. But is AI smart enough are the games smart enough to do that on their own? Does Madden quarterbacks, when you just do coaching mode, will they try to escape, or will you just sack them? And even if they do run away, will they stop and still try to throw the ball if they can get away, if they can find someone? Are they smart enough to look? I don't know. I don't know how smart AI quarterbacks are right now, and it'd be cool to be able to give them that intelligence. But this kind of thing, I mean, it could probably be done. I just don't know. I think it's a lot of processing power to do AI, and I wouldn't imagine it would be as complex, because it's doing. I mean, it's a microcosmic capability, right? Look, be aware of the rush. Basically, keep looking out for the rush, but looking for someone to throw to, and being smart enough to pick a good target. You know, considering the possibilities. There's things to consider. You know, how close is he? How close are the guys coming at you? How, maybe knowing a quarterback knows his receivers. He might be having to play the odds a little bit, making the best possible decision, throwing to the best QB. And maybe you can adjust that quarterback's intelligence, which would affect the AI's logic. You know, maybe he at lower intelligence, he doesn't consider the receiver's skill as much, or maybe at lower pass or rush awareness, he doesn't consider the rush as much. He gives it lower priority, and then he makes these adjustments and tweaks to make his decision. Now, if he's not as good at being rush aware, he might get sacked more often because he's not going to make a break for it sooner. But if you're more rush aware, he might run more often, or if he's got high skill levels, he might stop and throw the ball more often than if he doesn't. He might run and just take off down the field. You know, that kind of thing, giving them that variation that comes with adjusting not only their skills, but making them smart enough to actually respond to it. Now, I think a lot of things may have like a rush awareness. Like if they're about to be sacked, they throw the ball, or maybe they throw it away. But are they smart enough to run away? And if they're smart enough to run away, are they skilled enough to try to pass it anyway? You know, and can a quarterback? Do you adjust their skills if they are rolling out? Because rolling out and throwing is a lot harder than just pocket passing. So some guys might be better pocket passers, but if they roll out, some guys might be good at rolling out and throwing. You know, that kind of thing. There's a lot of variation there. Quarterback is the most complex position on the football team, right? I mean, everybody else's job is get the ball and go. And if you're on defense, it's get the guy with the ball. It's really all it is. It's just get the guy with the ball. DBs are probably the most technical skill. Maybe pass rushing a little bit, but I mean, really, those guys, it's just speed and agility, right? You just got to break past the guy. You got to get around him. Be smart enough to try to, do some stuff, juke your blocker. But ultimately, it's speed and agility. It's all that really matters. And I guess some power. You need to have power too. But you need those skills, but it's not a complex thing. It's just you need to have a lot of that stuff. Whereas a DB at least needs technical skills, the ability to kind of guess where the guy's going and adjust. There's a little bit of AI in a DB's talent, and same with any kind of zone coverage. You gotta kind of know who to cover, where to go, what to cover, and who to pick up as your thing. So covering is a little bit of skill. But receivers and running backs, their only real intelligent test is the ability to remember their plays. And of course, they need the skills to catch or not fumble or do things like that. But I mean, that's not intelligence, really. That's technical skills. But the real intelligence is just know your plays and maybe know how to scout, how to find openings, how to, know when to adjust so you can help your quarterback out. Not all receivers are good at that. Know what to do when the ball's no longer going to be thrown to you. That's like, do I block? Do I what? So I've seen plenty of guys just stand there. In fact, I was yelling at a couple of Broncos the other day when it looked like somebody was diving to tackle someone from going into the end zone. There was like 2 Broncos that just watched. I was like, no, you get in there and help him tackle the guy. The guy got into the end zone. He was basically lunging and he was being tackled from behind. And it was like, if you guys would have got in there, you could have easily redirected his fall. You hit him, you push him back. You make him turn so he doesn't get over the line. But I felt like these guys were standing around too much. Get in there, man. Be part of the play. And like I said, that could be an intelligence measure. Being smart enough to know, hey, just because I'm not the guy initiating the tackle, I should still be in there helping. So it does sound like... Oh, here we go. Plus users will be able to send 80 messages every 3 hours. I feel like, I don't know how much normally it is. Doesn't say how many you get. If you subscribe, you what is refund? My account got turned. How can I opt out my data to improve model performance? Where can I find my invoice? Or alternate payment? Hold on. ChatGPT API included in the ChatGPT Plus subscription. No, the ChatGPT API and ChatGPT Plus subscriptions are built separately. The API has. I'm using the free. Huh. All right, well, it's 80. I don't know what you normally get. I don't know. I guess I've never really counted the messages before you hit your limit. I should probably do that sometime. Start it up and go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I'm curious how many messages there are. That's not YouTube. That's YouTube. Chat GPT limits. I don't know how that would work. Are they like, how are they getting around that?
When I use ChatGPT, even with the paid version of ChatGPT, I often run out of credits. So they limit you, even with the plus version of ChatGPT, that's $20 a month, the team version, those all have a cap on how often you could use ChatGPT, how often you could make images with DALL-E. But this option that I want to show you today, you get unlimited usage of ChatGPT. It's actually never going to tell you that you hit a limit. So you could use all the different models. I have pretty much every ChatGPT model available here. I have DALL-E 2 and DALL-E 3 available so I can make images. And this is not some weird jailbreak or anything like that. This is going to run on your computer, so you have to go through the installation process. It's 5 easy steps. And this also gives you access to other large language models too. So I have Llama 3 installed over here, Mistral, a bunch of different models you could install and run it side by side with ChatGPT. This also has a ton of other options, like you could search your previous chat. For some reason, ChatGPT doesn't have. You could go ahead and upload documents and use ChatGPT to analyze documents, interact with documents. Ton of different options, and I'll show you them in this video. So how does this work exactly? So the way it works is OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, has something called an API key. And when you give it the API key, I'm going to show you how to set it up. All you have to do is use that other web page that I showed you this. I'm going to show you how to install this too. You add your API key, and every time you use ChatGPT inside of this app, you get charged usually a fraction of a penny. And then sometimes when you generate images like this with DALL-E 3, it could be 3 cents, 4 cents every time you generate an image. So you're paying per usage. So if you are a super power user and you're using the $20 or the $30 Teams plan and you need much more than that, this is the way to do that. You're gonna get unlimited usage. You just pay for what you want. Some months you pay way less than $20 if you're not using ChatGPT all that much. So
Okay,
it could
so
even
it's
be
not
cheaper than
free.
the paid plan. But this is done through the OpenAI API. This is just the official way to set it up. And this other app I'm gonna show you, this is called Open Web UI. There's 5 steps for installing it on your computer, and I'll cover that in this video. And then once we installed it, I'll show you exactly everything that you could do in this application. And this video is brought to you by SkillLeap.
Okay, so yeah, it's not
Okay,
free.
so let's go through the 5-step process to installing that application, and then I'll show you how to get that OpenAI API key to add to it. So 5 steps to install this application here. The first thing you want to do on step 1 is go to a website called ollama.com. This is the website right here, and just go ahead and press download right over here. This works on Mac OS, it works on Windows, and it works on Linux. Choose your operating system and press download, and then
in today's podcast, I chat with the brilliant Thomas Vanderberg, also known as Noyo Games. Thomas is the creator of the Kingdom series, Cloud Gardens, Pizza Possum, and his upcoming game, Garbage Country. All of these games sold well over 1 million copies in total, which honestly, this is a monumental feat for game devs, especially a game dev who makes small, tight, very focused games. In this podcast, we discuss his 8 years of developing a single IP. And then he spent 3 years building another game that he eventually scrapped entirely. We talk about his approach to game dev, which, by the way, is in some ways the complete opposite of his peers, Jonas Tyroller. We also talk about his advice for indie game developers like you in 2025. And finally, we do this really fun community Q&A at the end where we just answer your questions. So let's jump in. This one is really, really fascinating. I wrote down, I feel like I'm doing game dev wrong. And the reason and that's because I was looking at your work and I was looking at Jonas's and Paul's, and I'm thinking, you guys, you have this rich portfolio of games that are they're like hyper focused, and they're like, I don't know if small is the right word. They're really, really focused.
Okay, so he sold 1 million copies. Now I don't know how many copies that takes.
That your games have this tight, small focus.
So it's interesting that you say that, because you just mentioned like, oh, you feel like you're doing it wrong because like you're doing it different and you're kind of like grouping me together with Grizzly Games. But I feel like that. Like I feel like I'm doing it wrong, and I look at Grizzly Games. When I made Pizza Possum with Friedemann. That was the third person in Grizzly Games who left to do independent stuff now. We did Pizza Possum kind of like in that spirit, the Grizzly Games spirit, where you keep the development time really small and you kind of like focus and blast through. But me personally, I tend to just go deep and take way too long. And I'm happy that the games that I've made kind of give you the impression that there was focus, because for me it really feels like, a very long and winding process,
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about your history here. So
It's
you started
freezing.
with Kingdom, right?
Gotta put
So you started
something
with
on.
Kingdom. The Kingdom series is very, very successful.
Yeah.
It's clearly successful because you ended up making a bunch of sequels to it and DLCs, right?
Yeah.
And then you made a game called Cloud Gardens, which is phenomenal, really good reviews. You made Pizza Possum as well, and that was with a partner. And now you're working on a game called Garbage Country.
Correct, yeah.
And is it true that and these have provided a full-time income for you for the last decade? Is that what it is?
Pretty much, since I started working on Kingdom with a publisher and they started, paying us the development funding. That was the moment I had an income from games.
Oh man, we need to talk about publishers. I have so many questions about publishers.
I look at a lot of this stuff because
game developer for the last 3 months. Ever since I was laid off from my last job. Since then, I've been developing this top-down action roguelike game, which I would describe as somewhat of a blend between Hades and Binding of the Isaac. I would really appreciate it if you could wishlist it on Steam. Thanks. So, you want to develop a game all by yourself.
Stop it. Get some help.
I mean, seriously, even finding just one other person to collaborate with can significantly help you in terms of bouncing ideas, validating concepts, reducing workload, and boosting motivation. But I know it can be hard to find people with similar interests. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. So let me share a few tips that I figured out in my journey that should help you as well. If you are just starting out and hoping to make the next indie hit, then you might get disappointed. Instead, you need to familiarize yourself with your tool sets and gain that initial bit of experience. I would advise that you start with very small-scale games like Flappy Bird or a platformer or something that you can finish within 2 weeks. Try not to use any asset packs or anything. The goal should be to learn and level up your skills for the game engine, programming, and a bit of art, either 2D or 3D. Now, if you are not a complete beginner and you have already made some projects, then I would advise you to start working towards that first commercial release, since the experience you will get by doing so will be a lot more as you would be focusing on these other important things which go into making a complete game.
So you might say,
You should also-
I'm the guy who shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But then again, you might say I am. I have done programming for a long time. I know the development times. I understand the effort that it takes to do something. I developed a project for my job. It took over a year to do. It was one of the first major things I did. I did the whole thing. It was an application I did. It was written in SQL Server and C#, and but it was very logic oriented, so it's right up my alley. That's my thing, logic and mechanics and mechanical stuff. So I was able to make that all happen. I've never had to do graphics, so it's going to be an interesting thing. I'm hoping to, like he says, try to find someone to collaborate with. I'm a long way from that, and I'll continue to wonk away using AI as much as possible, including for the art. I know you guys all hate that, but we'll take what I can get, because there's just a lot of things. I mean, it's one thing to throw stuff down and maybe start doing that with the modeler and start figuring out how to get stuff down with textures and start making things look kind of cool. But it's a whole nother thing to get really nice, fancy, well-drawn, well-rendered art that doesn't necessarily come from the tools. You need talent, and that's just not me. So I'm going to use AI unless I find someone to collaborate with who's, got the same ideas as me.
Probably look into what other indie game developers are making through devlogs, Reddit posts, and so on. It can be a great source of inspiration and a research point as to what you should be aiming for. But know this, what they are highlighting is their best. Some of them have been working for a lot longer than us, and a lot of them are veterans from game studios. So they already have a lot of experience in at least one aspect of game development. You shouldn't compare your games to theirs or expect to make games like that right off the bat. My advice to you would be to thoroughly understand your strengths and limitations and then decide on the scope of the game accordingly. This approach will really help you finish a game faster.
See, my game is going to work great. I have
Scope
confidence
is
in
how
that.
much time and
It's
resources
just,
it will
I'm
take
worried
you
about
to
look.
implement features for your game. There is one thing that will heavily influence the scope of your game, and that is the genre of the game you decide. This is due to the expectations players have with a genre. For example, action roguelike games need to have a variety of player builds, and Metroidvanias need to have multiple interconnected areas, bosses, and so on. Obviously, you could scale it down, removing bits here and there, but you will still have to provide the essentials expected in your game. So if you're just starting out, I would advise picking a small scope genre like horror games or adventure walking simulator games, but also make sure to pick a genre that you would enjoy making, since it's you who will have to spend all the time developing it. And if you don't feel strongly about it now, you will have a harder time convincing yourself in the future. That's partly the reason why I am developing a roguelike, although scope is getting a bit tricky to handle. So definitely note down the features that your game must have and what you want to add and come up with a time frame. And then just double that. It's especially
That's about
true in my
right.
case.
That's what I started off. I said
thinking I would do that
maybe
with the
12 to
initial demo
18
within
months,
2
and now I'm
months.
thinking it's probably
And
going to be more
already
like
been
2
3 months,
years
and I think by
more.
next month I should be ready for initial playtesting. By the way, if you would like to be notified when I do playtesting, feel free to join my Discord server. Okay.
When did you do
next
this?
tip.
9 months ago?
You need to know and follow the 80-20 rule. 80% of the results or outcomes depend on 20% of the work. This is going to be super useful for us solo game devs since we don't have the time and resources to focus on everything. This rule can be applied to almost any aspect of game development.
That's a pretty
Be it
nice set of
managing your
graphics
time
there.
by focusing on essential features of your game, be it art direction, by focusing more on color and lighting that can give something visually appealing really fast. But this rule does not mean that you just need to do 20% of the work and say you applied this rule. Instead, you need to figure out which 20% of tasks or efforts will yield maximum results if you focus on them. For example, melee attacks are the main focus of my game. So I identified and added all these small tweaks, which really makes the combat feel polished and fun. So use this rule to prioritize important aspects of your game, and it will save you tons of time. Another thing I would like to add is don't hesitate to outsource certain aspects of the game, like getting some assets, be it visual, or tools to help in development where you are not confident. Solo development doesn't mean you have to do everything, and it will save you tons of time and frustration in the long run. Yes, visuals really matter.
Yeah,
Visuals are often the first thing players notice about a game.
yeah.
A well-crafted art style can really captivate players and draw them toward your game.
That's what I want. I need to start
Before
getting
you
my
go on to
art.
say, I am not an artist. I
Yeah.
can't draw or make beautiful scenes.
Yeah.
I'd say, you don't have to be. You just need to be consistent with your art direction to never break that sense of immersion. And if you have a 3D game, decide the art style of the game based on the theme and keep it consistent, whether it's low poly or stylized or realistic or retro. It needs to be that way throughout the game. One easy way to ensure a consistent art style is to use custom shaders like Toon Shader. It also adds that polished look really fast. Remember the 80-20 rule. Or if you're using assets that's from the same or similar publisher, alternatively, ensure that the poly counts are similar across different assets and modify textures to create a sense of cohesion in the visual style.
Huh.
Next tip is, you need to efficiently plan for both the prototyping and development phase and know when to switch between these two. During the prototyping phase, you'll test various elements to see if they yield desired results. This phase can be time-consuming as you search for optimal solutions, such as determining if a mechanic suits the game or if a particular style complements the gameplay. It's an exciting and rewarding phase as you learn and witness results. However, during the production phase, you probably won't be doing anything new, which can become monotonous, but it needs to be done in order to complete the game. So, you need to watch out for this.
That's a good-
and make a proper
good style
plan and
graphics
schedule
there.
to keep things on track. There's an incredibly helpful video on how to plan for these two phases by Heartbeast. I recommend checking it
I'm
out
in the
after
production
this.
phase, by the way.
Next tip is, we generally start off very motivated when beginning a new project. It feels exciting to see results quickly, but over time the progress can slow down, and you probably won't have that initial level of motivation. How do you handle it then? Well, I am not going to say I have fully figured it out, but what works for me most of the time is simply opening Unity every day and trying to implement something for the next 20 minutes. And usually that turns into a few hours. Even if I don't implement something, I try to play my game and identify areas for improvement. Or this happens anyway. What also works
Done
sometimes
that.
is remembering my goals I set out initially. So I would advise you to write down your goal for the game. These could be related to earning money or simply completing the game and sharing it with your friends. Among not feeling it, remind yourself of these goals and imagine the sense of accomplishment you'll experience once
Making
you
money,
achieve it. This should
man! But
hopefully
no,
rekindle
also
your
having a
interest.
good game.
Additionally,
My goal is to get a
using
game
trial
out there that
board to
people
list
want to
tasks for
play.
the future
That's the goal.
should allow
That's the
you to
primary
start
goal.
working
That they're
more
like,
promptly
it's not just
and
because
stay
it'll make
organized
money, because
throughout
the money
the development
comes,
process.
you know, that's,
But
if
make
you
sure
make
are
it,
also taking breaks
they will
from
come.
development
If you make a
and
good
avoid getting
game,
burned out
they will
quickly.
come. That's all that
Once
matters.
you've navigated through all the hurdles and you have something to show for your game, then it's time to face the final boss. Marketing is hard. You need to
Yeah.
convince people your game is worth their time, and you need to do it within a few seconds, since otherwise people might move on to the next. It won't matter how many features or
Yep.
how much time and effort you put into it. This is where having a unique hook to your game really helps, since your game can stand out more easily and it can be a lot easier to market. Anyway, I would strongly suggest validating your game early on by posting it somewhere, or if your game relies too heavily on mechanics, preparing a prototype. This approach not only helps you gather early feedback, but also should set the right expectations for your game. So, you have posted about the game, and it doesn't go that well? What do you do then? That's the kind
cry.
of position I feel I'm in. I've been
You're
posting
manic.
about my game,
You
but
don't like
so far,
me.
I haven't been that successful with it. Although I'm not heavily marketing it, I'm focusing on learning how to market it better.
That's
But
how that goes.
yeah, it hasn't been that great so far. So I am planning on putting the best things that my game has to offer and putting it to the test by giving it to you guys through playtests and
This
eventually
game ain't that
demo
bad
to other
looking. I mean,
YouTubers and streamers to really decide how I want to proceed forward.
it gives me
and
a
set the right
old school
expectation with this
Nintendo
game.
vibe.
This might all seem negative, but it's not all that bad. You don't need your game to be a mega hit to consider it a success. My advice
Kinda.
would be to constantly
I don't need a
validate
mega
your
hit, but I wanna
expectations
hit
and your
enough.
goals with the game. If you don't see expectations being met, consider scaling down the game, but focus on
Let's go see what the truth is about making games in a game developer. The truth about making money as a game developer.
For almost the last year, I've been working on my indie game about a wizarding academy called Castlemancer, and there's one topic I haven't really discussed in depth yet. We are going to talk about the one thing that can make or break you, the one thing that divides and unites the world, the one thing you both desire and despise. And no, it's not a goth anime girlfriend. It's money. And specifically, how you can make money as an indie game developer, or even more broadly, just as a software engineer with a side project. So there are three main methods I've identified that are all potential revenue streams for your game or side project. And you should stick to the last one, as that's where a lot of the juicy potential is for us indies. Now, the first strategy is the most obvious, which is the revenue associated with the sale or distribution of your game. This can be in terms of a purchase game or in terms of a free game with advertisement. Your game's monetization model will obviously determine which of these is the most applicable. Free games with in-app purchases or ads are generally more popular on mobile platforms because of the wide distribution. And distribution and audience size is essential for games like this because only a very
I know I'm
small
not talking a
portion
lot
of
because
users,
it's curious how
roughly
they do
1
these.
to 2%, will actually spend money in-game. Or if it's an ad-based model, the more ads that are shown, the more money you, the developer, receives, hence the incentive for broad distribution. Paid game models are fairly common on PC platforms like Steam and consoles and are fairly straightforward. A player buys your game, minus the cut of the distribution platform, and whatever your local taxes may be. In terms of the cut by distribution platform, for example, Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch all take roughly 30% of your game's revenue. The Apple and Google App Stores also take 30% generally for the first year and then 15% every year after. Epic only takes 12% on game sales from their platform, and indie platforms like itch.io take potentially 0 or up to 10%. So when you see that some huge games made millions and millions of dollars, remember that they're likely not seeing most of it due to platform cuts, taxes, and even refunds. So with this model, how much do indie developers generally make? According to Kavuru Games from March 2023, roughly 50% of indie games on Steam make under $4,000. 25% make between $10,000 and $25,000, 14% make between $50,000 and $100,000, 10% make over $200,000, and 1% make over $7 million. So that's what most people think when it comes to income related to indie game development, the actual sale of copies, in-game purchases, or ads. And I have actually made 2 specific videos about some of the indie games that have made the most amount of money, and another video detailing a bunch more indie game statistics from Unity. You can find those videos in the description below. Another common monetization method that somewhat goes along with the sale of your indie game is finding a publisher or investor. Now, I've never worked with a game publisher, and it can vary based on your individual contract. Generally, from what I've heard and researched, a publisher or investor will give you some set amount of money up front, an advance payment, to finish your game either through hiring additional game devs, artists, or quitting your full-time job, for example. In addition, game publishers can also help with marketing and general scalability, as it's in their best interest that the game does well so that they can recoup their investment. In exchange, there's generally a revenue share agreement where the publisher will get some percentage of your game's revenue. It's also common for the publisher to get 100% of the revenue until they recoup the initial investment, at which point the revenue share kicks in. Again, the exact percentages and timelines will vary based on the agreement, but I did find a great article from the Game Discover Co. newsletter from 2020 that was quoting Kellen Voyer, who did a GDC talk on game publishers after analyzing 30 publishing agreements for non-mobile indie games. Here's what they said. The average advance to fund a game is $318,000, including both advance and non-advance deals. Counting only deals with an advance, the average amount is $460,000. The lowest advance was $100,000 and the highest $2 million. 18% of the agreements had no advance, likely due to higher revenue share. 42% of deals require advances to be recouped before developers see a single dollar. 58% see the advance recouped while both the developer and publisher receive revenue share. The average revenue split sees developers taking 60%, publishers taking 40%. That jumps up to 71% to devs in the case of no advance deals, often seen in deals with nearly finished games that only need marketing support and the like. You can find that article linked in the description below. And if you're more curious about game publishers, I highly suggest checking out Thomas Brush's videos, who has a lot of experience with game publishers. And the last category of monetization I'm going to call as content creation, and there are a few different subgroups that fall into this. First, social media content creation is the most common association. So whether that's devlogs about your game, trailers, feature videos, skits, whatever the content is, and whatever the platform, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, etc., you have the ability to earn money from that content, generally either through sponsorships or ad revenue associated with the platform. Now, this is usually not a huge amount of money unless you're getting tons of views, but it's still something regardless. For example, I haven't released my game Castlemancer yet, but I've made money from sponsorships and ad revenue from the devlogs I've made about Castlemancer. Now, I've mentioned this before, but content creation, specifically video editing and production, can take a lot of time. So if you're a solo dev like me, it can be really difficult to balance the video production and game development at the same time. Another form of content creation is licensing and products. Now, generally, this requires your game to already be a success or recognizable. But when you're an indie game studio, you might as well try everything. You can create shirts, stickers, posters, stuffed animals, whatever the product is with your game's logo, characters from your game, some other types of branding, and that can open up a new revenue stream as well as being an indirect marketing funnel. I mean, think about how much Stardew Valley merchandise is actually out there. Again, for this to realistically be a huge success, It helps if your game is already doing well, but you can also do it as a reward for pre-purchasing or Patreon and Kickstarter support. Now, I'm not sponsored or associated with this platform, but I've played around with Teespring, which seems decent for trying to create different physical products with custom art without having to buy a bunch of inventory up front, and it's also free to use if that sounds interesting to you. And lastly, another form of content creation that you can help monetize for your indie game or indie game studio is what I'll call paid information. So this can come in many forms, like a course, a book, articles, even data. Basically, meta information related to the creation of your game that could be useful to other game developers or publishers. Information like how you made it, technologies you used, optimization techniques, marketing data, assuming you're allowed to release that, or other types of information and data kind of in that realm. This can also include paid art packs on places like itch.io and programming tools or packages on the Unity or Unreal marketplaces. And I've even seen several game dev YouTubers create products in this sphere. So those are the three main categories of monetization that I've tried to identify to help indie game devs, or really any side project, as I think most of these are applicable to other startups and not just game studios. So let me know what you all think. And if you watch this and you're like, yes, I want to build my very own game. Well, for that,
That's
you
useful.
might want to learn some foundational computer science and math.
So yeah, there's a
Computer
lot of
science are
information out there,
brilliant is
and
where
it's
you
kind of
learn
like
by
in the early
doing
phases,
thousands
like
of
I am
interactive
now. It's nice to be able to, you know, I gotta keep my what is it, my finger on the pulse, my eye on the realities. And I'm looking at my game in my head. I'm looking at the game in my head, not the game on the screen, because the game on the screen has a long way to go. But the game in my head that this game is supposed to be is awesome. But there's a lot of things I don't know. There's things in my head I don't know how to do the art. I'm listening to them going, yeah, you need to find someone to collaborate with. You need to find assets. You need to find that stuff. Right now I'm not there. I'm building the engine. I'm building it up. And pretty soon I want to put all that you know, the front piece. But at the same time, you see I'm doing some AI stuff. The idea with the AI is not that I want that to be permanent. I don't really. But what I want it to be is what I want it to be is a delivery of the theme. I have an idea in my head, and I want my theme to come out in the game. See, here's a reason why I think a lot of these GM games fail. They have no theme. They have nothing that makes them really stand out other than just varying amounts of data manipulation, right? Lots of different data. And how does it affect the game? You don't even get to see it. So I'm taking a whole different tact on my game, and I want it to be more of a game than just data manipulation, which is fun to a point. Obviously, people buy those and play those, but I just don't think there's enough in that. So we'll see. And maybe in time, I'll be able to develop this and start adding better physics, better stuff to go with how the game is advancing as I get better at stuff. You know, future iterations. But I want the first version to be something people find cool. And I'll just keep plugging away and delivering it to you as I go so that you can see where I'm going, you know, and you can help me make it into a success by just loving on it, hopefully, or at least telling me what's wrong with it so that I can, you know, I can make the corrections needed so that you can love on it. Go example for Google login. Okay, so I have I think I already have this. Oops, dang it, what the heck? I can't grab my photo. Grab it! All right, so I'm going to go over to my handler. They got my Go login, which I already have. This is the gRPC login. And I have my package main, and I don't know which one. I assume this is the main file. Doesn't really say which one it's supposed to be. On the Go backend, you would have an endpoint that handles the Google login. This would be exposed through gRPC gateway. See, I don't know if I'm going to have a Google. I mean, I will have a Google handler. Let's see, do I have a Google handler here? Print gRPC. Oh, maybe that's here. Author. Nope. What do I have? I thought I had something developed here. Get AMG auth. No, here's Google token. Log in with OAuth. All right, so they're doing it slightly different, but let's see how different it is. Say I got CTX context response writer HTTP request. Handle the Google login endpoint main, func main. All right, so let's make some adjustments here. Let's tell it what we have. Okay, so AMG auth microservice from its current state to being able to execute the Google code. The Google OAuth call. This microservice will handle all my calls and DB requests for account information related to logging in or connecting outside accounts. Also, will handle all my DB requests for account information related to logging in or connecting outside accounts. My microservices are all made up of a main.go grpc underscore handler.go store.go service.go and types.go. Only the grpc underscore handler has had any code related to Google implemented so far. let's see, we'll go copy and then paste. See, there comes a point when I have to make these guys get everything on the same page. Like if I'm asking about front end stuff and then I have stuff for my back end stuff and then he's telling me to, or he or whatever is telling me to do one thing and I'm doing another because my code is already another way, and it's like, it gets too confusing. Okay, so folder and file overview. Given your existing structure, contains the gRPC methods for handling login requests. Service.go implements Google OAuth specific logic and calls OAuth utilities. All right, so Google OAuth setup. Enable Google OAuth API, which I did. I have that up here. Wait, don't I? I laughed because I'm like, don't see it. I see googlegolang.org, but that's not OAuth. Let's add dependencies. Go get Golang. So I probably need to go here and let's go to cd amg auth. And let's do this. So it has login with OAuth, but it's doing it differently. But I actually didn't do anything to make this work, so I probably just didn't have the right stuff. All right, so your gRPC handler, here's your updated login with OAuth method. So func s at server, login with OAuth. So it's going to have me change this method. I am curious, how's it different? So we got string, got error, we got reg provider, we got Google, call the user, blah, 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 username, error, OAuth.verify Google token, request, didn't change anything there. Same, and then return nil, blah, 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 if error, blah, blah, blah. I'm just blah, 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 because it's a little bit longer blah. So the nil here is return nil, status error, codes unaffected, failed to verify. So it's a little bit more only because it's just more verbose. And then we got generate a DWIT for the authenticated token. So token error equals, or not equals, we're instantiating. If error equals nil. And then we got return nil, status failed to generate token. And then we have that. Okay, so it looks pretty close to the same thing. Slight variations. Even the call up at the top, OAuth, login with OAuth, context, request OAuth. Yeah, that looks pretty much the same to me. But we will put that in. I don't know. It's still showing that the OAuth stuff is not passing though. So we'll have to see. Service.go. Create a function to handle Google specific logic. So I'm going to copy the code here. I'm pretty sure this doesn't exist in my service.go. And that's yeah, I probably just replace all this because this is update AMG auth creator update. Yeah, I'm doing stuff there. This is just a copy from what I had before. So we're just going to go here. We'll just take it as it is. Let's see, go get, Golang, Google, go downloading, upgraded, downloading. All right, so we have that stuff in place. All right, protobuf changes. Update your protobuf file to include OAuth and OAuth response. I think I might have some of that. I did do some with my auth folder. So we'll check. So we got message, OAuth request, OAuth response, service, auth service. I got auth service, RPC, login with OAuth, OAuth request returns OAuth response. Login with OAuth. Didn't really give me a login with OAuth. I have a message OAuth response, message OAuth response, which is string token equals 1, which is pretty much exactly what I have. String token. And then OAuth request is basically provider and access token. Yep, that's the same. And auth service, which is that one up there. Login with OAuth returns OAuth response. I'm going to just take this one for now, because I think that's supposed to be this. Let's just put that one there. It's not much, but it is. I think the other one is supposed to be my login for my normal login, like for not OAuth. That's just like the one for logging into my computer, my system application, my application system, my apps, my applications login stuff. Whatever. Okay, so security enhancement. Validate tokens properly. Use Google's recommended verification methods for token inspection if needed. Rate limit. Protect your endpoint from abuse by applying rate limiting. Really? Don't know how to do that. Where do they help? Go store.go and service.go files. Really only need user email name and custom user ID. Yes, I am using MongoDB, and thus the types.go, store.go, and service.go files really only need user email, name, and custom user ID. For now, I can add more later if needed. Alright, so my types.go, we'll just copy that because I'll use it. And I don't have that much stuff in my, I think my types.go here is pretty empty as well. Yeah, it's the same thing. And then we have my store.go, which again is pretty empty, or at least doesn't have anything of relevance that I'm too worried about. This is all just stuff I copied over from its previous existence. So it's really just a matter of bringing things in. Plus I have things that don't, as you can see, I have stuff here that's not even being, and I have, what's that? Which one was that? That's the service. That's the store.go. Whoops. Did I not let it finish copying store.go? Oh, that's store.go. Use this store to manage user data during Google login. Update service.go. Wait, what is this one? New store, func, user. Okay. And then I need to go down here and then update service.go. Use the store to manage user data during login, Google login. This is service.go. Wait. I would have the login to Google. Wait, now I'm confused. I'm like, what? Login with OAuth. Update gRPC handler to call the auth service. Alright, so we got login with OAuth. Huh. What's going on, man? Changing my direction. So they. Alright, let's just do this. Copy code. And then we're going to take that one. I'm just going to do with what he says, because I think, like again, when it's early like this, it's going to be trickier when I start adding stuff. But right now, it's okay to just manhandle it because it's never worked. I mean, I've never done anything. I haven't tested it in any way. So it's a matter of, at this point, it's just trying to get everything in line, and that's kind of the thing. Initialize in main.go. Really, I'm not even worried about some stuff because there's going to be a fair number of things. Oops. It did break one little thing, though, that I need to have. Oh, it did put 2001 listener here. Huh. It's different from what I had, but is that what the same? You know what? I'm going to do this. I want my listeners to be the same way it was before. I'm kind of stubborn. I want that to change. We can get rid of this. And we have word 2001. What is that button? Okay. Let's see. My AMG auth service is called from a gRPC gateway. Thus, the var definitions at the top of the main.go file. Oops. Nope. This is what I wanted to show. What would the changes be to both this, and what should my AMG auth.go file look like in the gRPC gateway service? The routing? Routing. Kind of looks, I was just noticing my my stream description on Stream Elements, or even just on my service. Looks like a radio station. 36.1 PFFM. Doesn't it? Doesn't sound like a radio station? Programming 24/7 on 36.1 PFFM. To integrate your AMG service on your AMG, the following adjustments are needed. Changes to main.go. Aha! I thought so. I thought so. You were going to be difficult. There we go. You got to give it all the info, man. AMG auth configuration and gRPC gateway. Define the route in the gateway protobuf. Ensure your protobuf file has the following. It should, but we'll go look. If not, alright, so we got auth service right there. Login, what they're doing. Login with OAuth. Google API HTTP. Oh, well, okay. Alright, now I'm totally confused. Maybe this whole needs to be thing. Alright, well. I guess I'm getting rid of the other one. I don't know. Alright, I can replace it, I guess. It's going to be the auth service. Alright. Alright, so we got the integration and gateway code. Alright, so we got AMG auth.go copy. We're going to go down to my AIM. Oh, did I even create a gateway for AMG auth yet? No, I did not. So let's go create one. So we got a new file. AMG auth.go. Okay, now modify gateway's main.go update the main.go in your gateway to include. So yeah, I got to do that because it's got to call this piece. And right now it's doing all these other parts. Func main. Let's see what it's got. Got game plan. I got playbook. All right, where does that work? Listen and serve. Set up auth routes. Gateway.setup auth routes. New game plan service client. All right, so let's. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna actually give it. This is my gateway service main.go currently. What would it look like with the AMG on updates? The reason I'm doing that instead of just doing it, I wanted to see how it's currently set up and try to mimic it so I don't totally rewrite things, because it looks like the way it's doing the call is totally different. I mean, it does have a listen and serve down here, which is basically the last piece, but this gateway piece, I think I need to have it call it like it's dealing with another, like there's other things in here. So basically I need to have like new client or whatever for the AMG auth file so that it can call it correctly. That's really what I want. Game plan, playbook. See, now we have authcon, whatever, connect to the AMG auth service. See, that's what I was looking for. I wanted this piece because that's going to go right underneath my game plan and playbook. Or right above them. I actually think it's better on top, to be honest. Just because I feel like authentication comes first. So it's like the first thing that needs to process. So I'm kind of the feeling, let's put it in at the top. It's one of those, I don't know, semantics. It doesn't really matter. But I don't know. In the grand world of things, it does kind of in my head, because I'm one of those people who just wants things to make sense. You know, why is auth the third item? Well, probably because I worked on the other things first. But router, register, game plan, playbook, and then we have yet another handler. Cores. Actually, I don't think I need to do anything for that because the cores are going to be the same. Volume print. Handle server. Alright, so I think we're good. Alright, so steps to integrate AMG auth. Define auth server address. Add an environment variable to auth server ADDR. Define auth service ADDR. Add an environment variable. Example, register auth routes. Here's an example of the register auth routes function. The route handles OAuth login request, decoding the input, calling the gRPC login with method and responding with the result. This type of gateway now supports routes for the AMG auth service at API auth. It maintains the same structure and conventions used for the other microservices, ensuring consistency. Yes, excellent. That's what I want. Where do I put this? It's like, that's what I want. Perfect. But I don't know what to do with it. Where is this going? Does that go in the HTTP handler.go? Do I have another or where does the register auth routes func go? gRPC dial established. Oh. So it's in the AMG auth. So where is it? Service? I feel like there's something here that's already doing a register. Game plan? Ah! Game plan routes. Okay, so it goes in the AMG auth. Register auth. Okay, so this needs to go here. Set up auth routes, register auth routes. Let's say setup. At some point, I'm going to hit the limit of what one chat can do, because I've been putting a lot of stuff in this chat. All right, so it's confused. And it's probably because it's doing one thing and it doesn't know about other things. So, all right. Okay. For consistency, let's model the AMG auth.go after the currently fully functional gameplan.go. Okay, there we go. Let's do this. In your main go, update the register auth routes. In gateway. Main.go. All right, let's not guess. I'm gonna just give him what the gateway main.go is. Okay, so what did it do? Also, I think I changed my AMG auth to 2001. And then my game plan is 2002. Oops, wait. Oh, God. All right, main.go is 2001. And main.go should be... We have main.go, it can't be 2001 also, so that's not right. And playbook, what is playbook's main.go? Playbook is 2002. So we got 2001 game plan. Oh, what was it that's... Oh, no, okay, never mind. It's not a problem. So we'll go 2001. This one's got to be changed. What did I change them to, though? Dang it. So what is that? Great gurgly mergly. What do we got here? Game plan, playbook, service, make file, Docker file. It's just Docker file. I need the compose file. Docker compose test. That's kind of what I was looking for. All right, so I changed these and lined them up. All right, so we got front end. We have the gateway, which is oh, that's gateway. Okay, so we got auth, which I set to 2000. And okay, so this one has to be 2000. Main is 2000. So we got to go back up to auth, AMG auth. Got to go to main, and we'll set this one at 2000. And then we go back down here to main, I guess, and we take the code provided, and we so game plan is supposed to be 2001, and playbook is 2001, and game plan is supposed to be 2000. Okay, wait a minute. Confusing me. I'm confusing me. Stop it. Game plan is 2001. Playbook is 2002, and auth is supposed to be 2000. Sheesh. All right, and this is supposed to be auth service. There you go. Yeah. Ah, I'm gonna drive myself off the cliff. Ah! Crash, burn, bam. All right, let's just make sure I got that right. So we got blah 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 blah. Okay. 2001 for game plan. 2002 for playbook. Game plan. 2001 playbook. 2002. Okay, so we're good. All right, so we got that. And I think we can go down here. And so it was really just the registration of the other item. I don't think any of this changed. So, okay. Right. AMG auth, establish gRPC connection to the AMG auth service using gRPC dial. Called, register auth routes, and pass the auth client to handle. All right, so I think now I have some items here that I know are not fully compiling. So who's got a problem? So this gRPC game plan is suddenly broken. I don't know what I did. Because it's not supposed to be red. Nothing should be red. Nothing should be red that's intentionally. Really, I didn't change anything on these, so I don't know why they're misbehaving. they're just misbehaving. So it could be that maybe I'm referencing the wrong thing. So got common API. Could be proto issues. It's still under common API. Oh, it could be that my protobuf is not built. That's right. I've made some changes to my protos, and you can see I have no. Do I need annotations? Oh, I probably do, because that's that thing. Oh, God. All right, so we're going to go, let's see, CD common. CD common. Oops. What's the problem? All right. And then it's CD common, but... All right. Still seem to be missing. Gosh, how come this is such a pain in the rear? What am I doing wrong with the API annotations.proto? Because I thought I had all this done. I thought I had that fixed. Or maybe I didn't. I thought I did. I don't know what's going on, man. I need to create all my proto files. Google API annotations .proto. What is this way to get this integrated into my common /API service? Alright, so install Google annotations file. Alright, I need to download the repository and make it accessible to your .proto compilation. Use a package manager. If you're using Go with protobuf tooling, install the Google API's dependency. I have that. Then add the Google API's repository manually or via a sub-module. Download Google APIs. I can try this. Let's clone them. Because I already got them, but they didn't go where it was usable. Something didn't happen like I hoped. So now I don't even know where it's putting these. Should have probably looked. Probably because I'm putting them inside of my football simulator. I bet you. I have a feeling they're going inside of this code. Is that where they're going, dang Norbits? Google APIs. Yep, that's where I put them. Oh well. Copy necessary files. Copy the Google API folder into your project under a directory like third party, for example. Okay, so okay. Update the proto compiler. Maybe that's what I need. All right, so let's go here. And is it still doing the updating files? Sheesh. Oh, is it cloning? Oh, is that like in there? Easy on. Common. API. No, okay, we're fine. Never mind. Never mind. We're good. We're good to go. I thought that was something else. Okay, so Google APIs, leagues, node modules, simulators, streamers, testing, user account. Okay, so I think. All right, so and then that is the Google APIs, and it's all getting copied down, and it says, I'll just call it Google APIs. What the heck? I mean, that's another folder. Update your product. Include the path to the Google API folder. If you're using Makefile, it might look like this. So I apparently did not path it out to that folder correctly, but hopefully I will next time. Copy the Google/API folder into your project under a directory like. Is there a folder in here going in there that's called Google API? Oh, okay. There is. Google API folder into your project under a directory like third party. Third party. Let's close all this because I want to just be compressed. Gotta be compressed so I can see what I'm doing, man. There's too many things open. Too many. All right, so we're going to go here, and we're going to go, yeah, into your project, it says. So we'll just go here, and nope, that's not what I want. I'm going to go here, and we're going to say new folder, and we're going to call it third party. Tools, third party. Sure. I mean, I don't know. Third party. What else? I'd be outside. Third party. Third party works, man. Good job. Oh, but I do want to rename it because I don't like capitals. I've become a hater of capitals. Third party, unless specifically required. I've become a hater. Too many. Oh, you're not going to let me paste that in there, are you? Oh, you're dumb. Okay, so we can go back up. And we'll go to up again. And then we'll go to my third party. And we'll paste this in here. And then I'm going to actually take this Google APIs thing. I'm going to cut it from my app, and we'll just put it here. I don't need that on my app. Okay, so what else? All right, so copy it right there, for example, did that. All right, update your proto compiler command, which is what, the make file. Including the path Google Play folder. If you're using make file, it might look like this. All right, so we'll copy the code here. I'm not going to copy everything. I just want to make sure I change the path. So make file is going to be under common and make file. Alright, so let's just drop this guy down here. I want to see what it looks like. Alright, so we have go out, gRPC, your service.proto, third party. Oh, okay, so we got to put third party. Nope. So I have go out go opt. So I need to do this thing. Because I don't see. I guess we'll do this. So, any problems? Alright, so it looks like it's good. Alright, so next thing. Update your proto definition, which should be good now according to that. So we'll do this, and we'll go to my proto, and we'll look at my file. Google API annotations.proto import. Google API annotations.proto import your package. I think I need to go with the same package. It's Google. Oh. Google package API. Package API. Package API. Package Google API. I don't know. Maybe not. But it's still not working. So let's see. What do we got still? Update your proto definitions. All right. So I still. Google API HTTP. It does lose track. Annotations.proto. This is my annotations.proto. Ensure your .proto files are referencing Google API annotations.proto. Is that in there? I don't know. Annotations.proto. Do I copy annotations.proto into the same folder as the auth.proto? Or do I reference it in the third party wait a minute. I probably don't want that. That's not the way to do that. That's the wrong way to do that. Ken, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? That's not what you want. You want the Google API folder, not the API folder. But it's the API. Okay, but this is. I need the API folder, but it's going to have to be in a third-party Google folder. This is going to be Google. And then pretty much everything that isn't that has to go in there. Because if I do other third-party crap, I don't want them to be all like mixed in with that. So, yeah. So, and then we got to go to third-party API. But really, Right, didn't I create a folder called Google inside of third party? Oh, I did. Alright, so shift end. Now we're going to go control. And I totally did that wrong. But actually, let's go up here. We're going to say new folder. This is Google. And then this guy goes inside of Google. And the only thing I don't need is a Google inside of here. That was just garbage. Oh, I tell you, just organizing files is a pain. All right, so just gotta keep on top of the nonsense, man. All right. Now, in the same auth dot, or do I reference it in the third party Google API folder? It's confusing because I think it kind of goes off the rails sometimes. Your new product command file looks odd. Should not copy annotations proto into the same folder as outside proto. Instead, you should reference it. So folder structure: keep annotations proto and other Google API files separate. Okay, so I don't need this, which is good because I didn't want that there anyway. All right. So API, game plan, playbook, blah blah blah. Third party. Okay, so we got I. So my make file is third party. So it's easier to update or replace dependencies. Portability also means okay, so that's fine. So we're good with the / third party. Conclusion: keep managing the third party Google API. Ensure your protocol command references third party. All right. So it should be there. So what is the problem? Still not seeing it. Let's do a bulk save again. Nope, that's all I have. There's nothing else to save. Wow. All right, we're gonna go cd common. Oops. cd common. We're gonna do a make gen. Let's just see what the problem is. Okay, so I apparently put the third party folder somewhere it doesn't want it to be. Okay, so make gen is not finding my third party Google API folder. Should it be in the common folder with the API? Well, okay, it is in the root level. Huh. Yep, it's there. I go third party. Third? Did I spell it right? Oh, he put an underscore. Don't put an underscore. We don't put underscores in our stuff. What nonsense are you doing over there, buddy? What are you doing? It's not allowed. I don't put underscores. I mean, I guess you could, but it's just crazy talk, man. Third party. All right, so I didn't even notice that. I didn't notice that before, but that doesn't mean it's going to work because it's still not finding it. But let's see. Maybe it'll find some other problem. Okay, so third party. Now it's still not finding it. But now at least it's spelled right. THIRD PARTY. All right, well. Let's see what it says. The warning means that Protalk cannot find the third party. Yeah, no kidding. It's sure the third party already exists at the root of your project and that it contains the current structure. Google API annotations.proto. It does. Third party. Third party? Somewhere down here. Third party. Google API. Oh, third party Google API. And then in there is annotations. Annotations.proto. Third party Google API annotations.proto. Google API annotations.proto. Really? So, did I have that in these other ones? Oh, I did. Well, that's your fault, ChatGPT, because I didn't know you took it out. Syntax, Proto 3. I don't know, I guess I can put this up here. API. I'm going to put this under API because I just feel like it should be under API. I don't know why. I don't know why it has to have its own. These guys had they didn't have their own. But still not finding it, man. You know what? I'm going to try something. Because API is under a common folder, I'm wondering if this is not a high enough level because it would be 2 levels down. The root would be another layer up. So let's try a relative reference of this. So now we go up a whole level and up another whole level. And we're not doing it at the same level. So let's try this. I just feel like that has a better chance of being what it's supposed to be, but we'll find out. Nope. Because normally a dot slash means it's at the same level. Okay, so it had no problems with one of those things. The only problem is we're still having trouble finding our file. What the heck? Huh. So let's try. I don't know, let's So at the same level as a full level up would not be right either. Because common what is this file? I don't need that. Go away. I put that there because I was trying stuff earlier. That's not a thing. Didn't work, so doesn't matter. All right, so we got API. We're gonna go back. It's at the root, man. I'm telling you, it's at the root. What if I take this dot out? Because that sometimes just means go from the root. Ah. Still can't find that freaking file. What is your problem, man? Why are you being so difficult? Why do you hate me so? Alright, well, where the heck is it? How come it can't find it? Well, let's see what it says. Still no luck. Third party / or / Google / API annotations .proto is definitely at the root of my application, right? I mean, right? That's the root. It looks like the root. Yep, it's the root. I don't know what's going on, but it's there. You know what? I should go talk to Claude. Check the directory structure. Make sure that the structure looks like this. Okay, so wrong. Okay, so no. API is in a common folder, not at the root. The make file is in the common folder as well. Aha, okay, so what's the problem? Really? Okay. we'll try that. All right, so basically I think what this is doing is it's setting the root with common, and then third party is going back to the root. That's how it looks like it's managing things. That's what it looks like it's doing. All right. Since your API folder is inside the common directory, we need to tell Protalk to also search the common folder for the .proto files, including API auth.proto, API gameplan proto, etc. -I third party. This tells Protalk to look for the API annotations Protalk file in the third party folder. The path is relative to where you're running the make command, which is the common folder. Right. Correct. Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. Yes? Okay. Let's see what that does. Oh, now we got all kinds of problems. It totally said, nah, we're not doing that. I don't know what nonsense you're trying to pull on me, but we're not going to scramble the world for you. Oh, it totally got confused. All right, so now. I may have to go to Claude. I don't think ChatGPT knows the answer here. Why wouldn't it be accessible? Of course it's accessible. Arg, what time is it? 9:48? It's getting late. Alexa, turn off Blue Beetle. Okay, so I have, you can very clearly see, I have common at the same level as third party. Done and done. And assuming this, everything here is my project, which it should be. So underneath that, I have API, and underneath that, I have all of my proto files, which is what it's showing here. And then at the same level as API, I have my make file, which is exactly what it's showing there. And then under here, I have Google API and Annotations Proto, which I've already verified. You can test product manually from the common directory to verify the imports. All right, let's go to my bash. We'll paste this puppy in here and hit enter. No, does not like it. It doesn't like it. I'm going to try again with this thing. Let's try this action. Oops. What happened? I've lost the world. What did I do? I don't know what just happened. What do you What's your problem, buddy? You're being difficult today. I don't know what's going on here. This thing just like locked up. Time to bash you out of here, Bash. I'm not messing with you no more. Alright, so we're gonna go over here. Try that again. Accept. Get common. No, okay, so that's looking from the root of get. Which is weird. Why did it go all the way back to the root of get? Why does it think that's the root of all? That kind of gives me an idea of where it thinks I'm at, though. Right? So it's like it actually went back to the C drive, and it actually went back to the C drive, and I can see where it's trying to go. And it's not helpful. So it's not the common. So when I put the dot here, okay, that's weird. How come it's not complaining about that right now? If I run make gen from this folder, make gen. Nope, doesn't like that. CD. It's kind of like the Protalk thinks it's in a different place. See, if I run it from common, yeah, see? The problem is somehow it thinks that works fine if it's at the root. Okay, interesting. The command works fine from the root of the application. However, it does not when I run it from the common folder within the application, which would explain why MakeGen is not working as well, since it is in the common folder. So I think we're just relatively MakeGen, you can specify absolute paths for both common and API folder and third-party folder. Here's how you can modify the command in the make file. PUD? What does PUD represent? Gets the absolute path of the current working directory where the make command is executed. This ensures that Protalk can correctly resolve the paths no matter where it's run from. and proto files. It ensures protoc looks in the common folder. You can also change the working directory in the makefile itself to the root of the application by using cd command. Here's how. Really? How do you do that? Oh, so they're pushing it back to the root. Huh. Which should be just putting it up there at the top. Which kind of sort of makes sense. Or I could use the PUD. What do I use? Let's go with PUD. PUD? I don't even know what that stands for. But so this forces root. Man, I want to comment that. How do I comment that? Can comments be placed in the make file? Because I don't see any other. I don't know if he's using them. Ah, it's a pound. Okay, so I'm gonna put PUD. I'm gonna go with PUD. I don't know. The CD is pretty clear too. But either way, you're just going third party. So these are just basically taking me where I am. So it's about where the make gen is trying to run from. And we just need to tell it to execute from those same levels. So we could do we'll do this. Generate Go code from the proto files using at cd dot to execute the make. Oh, man, that's some pretty good predictability, man. That's pretty good. All right, now we're gonna try make gen again. Make gen. Make gen work. Oh my golly McFarley. Why is that still showing not happy though? Not happy though. How come that didn't work? What did it do? It's funny it worked, but it doesn't explain why my import still doesn't work. Well, make gen ran. However, the auth.proto still shows the import for Google API annotations is not found. Oh, look, it's building them in a different place because I'm running it from the root. No. No, 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 no. It actually did build them correctly. But that didn't, that's not going to work, man. Well, it was an interesting thought. So I don't want to run the make gen from the root. Let's actually try to move these from the root. Okay. So let's do the other option. We're going to dump this. Oh. Go to make gen because okay, so now we know. We don't want to run from the root because it'll create the files in the root. Let's try this. Not run from the root because that results in the API proto files being generated and being files being generated in the root directory. So we got to take this out, and we'll try the PUD option. Hope that works. So $PUD. Oops, that's not a $sign though. $sign. Alright, so we got $PUD. Okay, so we'll try that option. Dumping this because it put all my stuff up there, which is nice that it worked. I mean, it does generate them. And if I guess I get desperate, I will try that too. But in the meantime, let's see if this will work. Okay, so we're close. Because now Git doesn't exist. I mean, I don't know where Git is. What do you mean Git doesn't exist? Where does it think I'm doing Git? Where is Git? Where does it think Git is? I wonder what do I have in here that says Git anywhere? Why is it looking for Git? API, resources, Prodoc. Git? Where's it looking for Git? J/Git. This is like Uber root. This is, I don't even have a root. I don't even have that folder on my, I have Git repos, which it probably thinks because it's not seeing that as connected. It's probably looking at Git repos. So this is the root of my, not this, it might be going to the root, but it's not looking at the root of the application. It's looking at the root of my folder structure. $PUD, but that seems to be looking at the root of my folder structure. And my project is in a folder called Git repos. And the space is killing the reference. So it's something directory. I got a headache. I should probably stop and go to bed. Why isn't there a relative way to do this? I mean, you can relative, why can't I just relative go up the path, man? Or you can handle paths explicitly by coding them. Using double quotes around paths if the problem is directory structure. Escaping the spaces. Oh, you know what I could do? What if I go to the root of the project and tell it to put it in .common? Because I think this is the gRPC out. No, that's the go out prodoc relative. I could go source absolute, but I'm not going to do that. Source relative. gRPC out path equals source relative. I wonder if this go gRPC. See, this is where the go files are going, and I think I can try to I can try this. All right, so we're going to try one more out. I don't want to go to the root. I don't want it working with the root. I don't like that. So if we go there, this just takes me to the root of the project, which is fine. But we will try common. Let's see what that does. We'll just try again, you know? Oh, did I save that? It's running. It put a file there. It did not, however, put both files there. Wait, did it? Wait, what did it do? All right, why do we have some files that went to the right place and some files that did not? How did auth gRPC gp? Oh, okay, so I have two outs. gRPC went to the right place. But go gRPC, something else went to a different place. Oh, okay. So this one has to go to this one has to go to common as well. Sheesh. All right, so I'm learning. See, it took me all night, but I'm starting to learn how this is assembled, so I can bypass the nonsense that is. Oh no. That didn't work either? Wait a minute. Why are you being a jerk, man? Alright, that didn't go. Okay, so... Alright, so let's go like... Oops. Is anything getting created in the right place? I think it is, because that... I really wish, I kind of want these to go in a different place. I kind of want them to be somewhere else. Because having my proto files in the same file, same location, is kind of distracting. But I still don't want, I don't want them at the root. I want them in there. I just want them in a different folder. Okay, so we went to the root. Maybe I try that. Okay, so what is that? Oh, that's what I was doing. Common. Oh, I didn't save this. That's why that didn't work. So I don't have to use nice prodoc go out equals common, go op path source relative, go grpc out common, go grpc path source relative, and then common third party. And then, oh, they put common up here on these also. That's just telling them where they're at. Would it work to put the proto files in a different folder than the than the other files? What are the other files? I think this is going to work. Oh my gosh, they all worked. But I'm curious. And the .co files generated seems finding the proto files is going to get kind of cluttered when I have 10 or so services. So I think I will, so I think I'm going to leave. All right, so let's do a proto file folder. Let's go with common, new folder, proto. And then I'm going to put all of my proto files in there. Just because I want them clean and out of the way. Okay, so then I got to go to my make file. And these are going to be inside of proto. And if I leave those other ones where they are, references to them should work fine, I think. So I don't want to change that. We'll just Okay, so this auth actually, auth.proto actually seems happy now. I don't know why that one's coming up red though. We'll do one more test just to make sure. And I'll just do make gen again. No. No, it's not what I said. It's supposed to be go. It's not where I said to go. That's where it got them correctly, but the output was supposed to go to API. Arg. Arg. Okay, so we got to go to generated. So we got proto, and instead of going to common, proto, that put them at the root though. So we should actually do something like common / API. Then we go like this, and delete them again. And then we go here and dump them again. Now there is a better way to clear them. In fact, I do not recommend what I just did. Hand to hand, hand dukedom. You guys, your spammers have some crazy names, man. Oh my gosh. So it put it in the API folder, but under the name proto. It's like it wants to use the same folder name. It doesn't, it's like it just naturally wants to use the same folder name as the proto. So what I could have, all right, that works. Let's do this. If I want it to have the same folder name, I could say common . If I say common, it puts it in up the proto file. If I say common API, it puts a proto in the API folder. So if I say common, oh god, it's breaking my brain. So it's gonna put the same folder. So if it's a proto, but it won't. Will it go one level deeper? It probably will, but it'll just put another proto in there. It'll put proto. The proto is gonna go with it no matter what. It's like it wants to create the same folder. So I don't even know how I can change that. It's like it's gonna do it anyway. Generated, because if I tell it to go to a certain folder, it puts the root folder of the proto files in that other folder. So that doesn't really work. Makegen seems to insist on creating the same root folder inside of whatever destination you tell it to put the files. If it already exists, i.e. proto, it won't create a file, a new folder. if it is a different folder, i.e. generated, it puts the files in a proto folder inside of generated. Okay, so I don't even know what to do with that. I mean, this will work if I can get the references down, but I see the issue you're seeing encountering is that the product creates output directories that mirror the input directories when using go out and go gRPC out. This behavior ensures that the directory structures remain the same as the input directory structure, which is likely what's causing the files to be placed in proto subdirectory and generated. To avoid this behavior and generate the Go files directly in the generated folder, you can try the following approach. You can use the Go Out and Go gRPC Out options with a slightly different configuration to specify the output folder directory. Alright, so Go Out generated, or Go Out common API, which is fine. It's kind of lost, but Go gRPC Out generated. Remove these guys. Okay. I'm going to put these in another comment, just because I like to have them for reference. And create relative output paths matching source protocols. Okay, so we're going to try this again. Delete. Alright, so we have nothing in there. I'm going to try and make gen. Oh, God, gang smacking doodles. It's not going to work because I did not save. Oh, never mind. Cancel. Just took a while for some reason. Still thinking about it. Oh my gosh. What the heck? Now it's just like, well, you're not going to tell me where to put it. I'll just put whatever I want. Oh my gosh. Okay, so one of those is probably still required. Because I think it still went to API just fine. It did not go to a proto file. So whatever that was, one of those did not cause me one of those was not the problem. Let's see what this does. Holy moly, guacamole, man. GitHub, jeez. Let's see what that one does. That's probably why it took so long. It was too busy trying to create new folders. Okay, so that's not the one. This is the one that's going to give it. Where did it put them? Oh, it split them. It put them both in different places. Because one is for one set of files, and one is for the other. But all right, so oh my gosh, I'm so confused. All right, so we're gonna try this one now. Let's take this one. It still did the relative crap. I mean, it still created a proto folder. I don't know what this is going to do. I feel like it's just going to do the opposite. One of the other ones is going to go there. One of them will still go to GitHub. Yeah. Now we just swapped which ones went to GitHub. That didn't work. And this is such a dumb thing. Okay, so I think it's the setting, not the feature, that's causing me problems. Because like this one is still going to the API fine, but what it's not doing, this one's going to Proto. So one of them is going to the wrong thing. Go option. Go gRPC option. So the gRPC one, they're both going to a path equals the source, the relative path. Oh boy, I'm gonna stuck with API Proto. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else to make that work. So if I start, I mean, everything, it's grabbing the files, it's running them correctly, it's putting them at least in this file. What if I don't say source relative? What if I just say path equals what happens if I just put something like API? Oops. API. I mean, it could just blow up now because it's going to go, what? Yeah. Unknown path type. Want import source relative. Want import or source relative. All right. So it's source relative. That's all I can do. It's source relative, which means it's either going to stick it in the same folder as I've got, or I really don't have an option. It's going to do it from the root. Go out. Protalk Gen Go. Plugin failed. Yeah, I can't do it. I think I'm getting sick, man. I'm kind of losing my blah. I'm feeling blah. I gotta go to bed. I'm gonna quit. All right. So hey guys, thanks. If you check this out, we're making progress. Things are coming together. I am generating my files, so it's not like, it's not working. It's just not working the way I want it to. Which, sometimes I can't have everything I want. I still might just do API Proto just because I want them separate. And I don't know why it's doing it that way. But that's better, I think. And I do believe everything's at least compiling. And everything looks good. It's interesting though, they're coming out, they're not looking green. Like they're like not even being referenced. I don't know, it's like they're not going right. Something's out of wonk. It's probably because my gateway can't see them. They're not being referenced or something. I think I may be stuck with just keeping them in the same files. I haven't figured out the trick. But and that one's still coming out non-compiley. And I think I would say that has something to do with this, but that's working now. So probably because it's out of position.